So I'm going to change the transaxle fluid on my Toolcat 5610. The first thing you want to do up front is get this lift arm in place for safety, and then you've got a plug right here to check the level, as well as to fill it. And then there's also a plug, exact same plug down below to drain it. So I've already drained it. A few things to note. First thing, take a flathead screwdriver and just clean that out. These plugs are brass. They got a magnet end on them, and they strip out pretty easy. So don't ask me how I know that, but I've learned it the hard way. That's a 8mm hex head that you'll use to open that thing up then. So as far as fluid goes, if you use the Bobcat, it's a part number 6687120. And I think probably the handiest thing that I've discovered is this device here for replacing oil back in the machine. I got that at Napa. It was, I don't know, $4 or $5, something like that. About the only way you can get oil back in there is with something like this, because the clearance in here, the gear is like right behind there. So you're gonna have to take your time and pump the oil back in there. I'm just making sure this thing's topped off properly. You just slide that thing back in there as far as it'll go. Give it a pump. Like I said, you don't want to go too fast because it'll just run right out the front if you do. So the amount that came out, if I believe the markings on this thing, were 3 quarts. According to my manual that came with the machine, it takes 5.5 quarts per axle, which I think has got to be a typo. When I asked the Bobcat dealer when I was buying the oil how much I needed, they said I needed 3.6 quarts per axle. So I am right now at just slightly over 2.5 quarts in this thing, and it is, I know you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's just seeping out as I put more in here. So I think this thing is basically full. It's not going to take anymore. So I almost think there's a typo in the book when it says 5.5. That must be for both axles because it says each, and I'll show you here in a bit. So yeah, so that's it. This front axle is very straightforward. The rear axle on a 5610 is horrible. It's the access port is back behind the 3-point hitch. Almost impossible to get to, so you're gonna have to have something like this to replace the oil in it. So hope that helps.